okay, how do I lock in these 2 points on a consistent manner and I get a structured framework where I can get stats out of, which I'm going to show you in real time, and which we have then overlaid Gavin's trade guide volume stuff on as well. The way to do it is the how part, and by looking at cycles, is by analyzing the cycle framework. And the good part about cycles is, and why I started off this presentation saying, what I'm going to teach you now is all cross-transferable, because you and I know all markets, regardless of whatever instrument, ETF, mutual funds, bonds, equities, indexes, all move in cycles. So these guys were very smart, the way that they developed everything. Now, this leads me into now analyzing the cycle framework, which now, before we look at the cycle framework, we have to look at the 4 market principles. The 4 market principles. We'll start off very simple, then we'll go deeper. So the first part of the cycle framework, all in line with finding out our point of entry and our maximum point reached on a consistent manner, starts off with the principle that nothing moves in a straight line. Do we all agree? Yes, yeah, that's very, very straightforward. Everybody says, come on, Thiru, that's straightforward. Doesn't matter. Whatever instrument you pull up on the chart, nothing moves in a straight line. So we all agree. This is very important, very subtle, but it's so important later on when we analyze the charts. That leads to the second point. Now, the second point is that if it does not move in a straight line, how does it move? Cycles, exactly, right? So it moves in cycles, right? Now, if it does not move in a straight line, it moves in cycles. Now, because it moves in cycles, number 2 happens. Bottoms and tops are formed, bottoms and tops are formed in the market, right? That's the second point. Very simple point, but you'll see how we develop it more further. So bottoms and tops are formed, then because of bottoms and tops, they then compress the entire market movement. This is what quants are very good at doing. They are able to compress the entire complexity into 2 or 3 levels of hierarchy, that's all. So that the mind is able to process it and then they can derive the data from it. So that is the third thing that they did very smart. Now that you're thinking in terms of cycles, only bottoms and tops have got to form, the turning point has got to form. Therefore, because of that, there's only 2 types of move that can ever happen in the market if you keep thinking in terms of cycle. Either it's a bottom to top move, or what is the other one? Top to bottom move. That's it. Now, from this bottom to top or top to bottom move, you can now segregate them into, in alignment with trend, whether it is in alignment. If it's in alignment with the trend, we call it a phase 1. Or is it a correction move, where it's a phase 2? Or when it's not in trend, then it's a compression. It's not a trend. So it's neither phase 1 or phase 2. But still, you will still get your bottom to top or top to bottom. It's just that it gets smaller in distance. Yeah? So from the third principle then, we then find out the fourth principle. Now that we understand that the market, because it moves in cycles, these 2 types of moves only can happen, which then leads to the fourth principle, which is, if it's only bottom to top or top to bottom, they're going to create a distance, right? In which I'm sure you all have learned in your STA diplomas and all of that. That's called what we call the swing distance, right? That's a distance that is formed, okay? Now, so, but here's the interesting part, and let's put it all together. So, if you think about it, ideally, as a trader, you want to enter as near as possible your point of entry, remember, to the bottom, so that you get a large move left. Right? Which then we can measure by locking in our tops and bottoms by quantifying them. So that's how the whole thinking came about to formulate the smart money framework. So to lock in your point of entry and your maximum point, based on the cycle framework, you have to quantify the tops and bottoms. That's the first step you need to do, which is what is not seen anywhere online material. When I started to think in this way, even before I met my mentor, who learned from his mentor in the 1960s, which was very similar to the time that Tom Williams designed all of his framework based on Richard Wyckoff's work, I started to think in terms of this, but I couldn't find anywhere online where somebody has quantified a top and bottom. And I'm sure most of you wouldn't have found that, or maybe some of you would have thought about it, but not seen anyone quantify it. So that was the missing link. But with everything in life, once you are searching for something sincerely, you find the right people at the right place, even though you think it's a coincidence. So that's how then I found my mentor, and he taught us actually the formulas, right, of how to quantify the tops and bottoms, which the work started back in the 1960s, right? So, and from that tops and bottoms, you can then derive the 3 critical stats. Now, before I go on to the next part, which I'll show you what we have programmed, and I was showing this to Jeff as well. That's how our conversation actually began when I showed him the stats.
If you want to get notified every time we put a video up, especially on our live trading update videos, hit the subscribe button and turn on the bell notifications icon. This will get the YouTube algos to kick in and for you to join us in our mission to spread the truth of trading further so that traders like you can benefit from our videos to trade like a master, achieve consistent performance, and change lives.